open your mind to the way, the conscious way, the way of conscious mindfulness. Hi, my name is Steve Boggy, and welcome to The Way of Conscious Mindfulness, a weekly podcast show. Need my little words. Weekly podcast show discussing spirituality and science, balancing health and well-being with mind, body, and spirit, with a Taoist twist. What is the Tao? The Tao means the way, the path, the balance. Now, we are not the normal show, surprise, surprise. Each week, we either have a subject or a guest. This week, no exception. We have a wonderful guest, a great guest from past shows that has been here many times before. And, and that guest will be coming on shortly as I get the right button. And there she is. It is. Good evening.
And I'm rubbing my eye because I've got something in my eye. So.
Oh, well. Hey, it's all good in the hood. So, good evening, Anne. How are you doing? And welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm doing great. I'm doing really, really good. Yeah, very, very good.
Cool. So, so what have you been? Firstly, what have you been up to since the last show? Because it has been a while since we've been on. I think last year.
Well, I'm working on my book proposal because I'm working on a new book, and I spend a long time getting it ready. You know, publishers expect a lot. Quite rightly so. I spend a lot of time working on the proposal, the material. I've probably been thinking about it for 4 years. I've been working on the proposal for the last year. So, but I've outlined it, and then I send it off to my agent. And if he likes it, he'll show it to publishers. If he doesn't, he'll throw it back at me. And so I send it off and go, please, please. It's that thank the universe thing we do, you know.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. This is why I don't write books.
It's hard.
But I keep getting told I should. So
you will write one. I've seen them. You will.
Yeah. We'll get to this in a bit with her, and she's already foretold my future. Got to remember which camera I'm looking at. She's already foretold my future. And yes, there's great things in the world of secret body indeed. Right, so anyway, this episode is the way of our Jirsch, already said that, but it's also the way of kick-ass and spirituality. Now, I'm actually going to do it a different way this time, because normally I ask the whole what is your Tao. When we say kick-ass spirituality, what is that for you? What are we talking about?
It's a tricky one because it's something I'm still learning and something I very much didn't have in my early days of working in the spiritual field. I go back, I was taken advantage of, didn't believe in myself, uncomfortable asking for money, and I've had to learn to be a bit more kick-ass, and I think I'm still learning to be kick-ass. In fact, somebody offered me something the other day, a gig, and they come up with a vast amount of money. I went, oh, you can't possibly pay me all that. And I'm thinking, why am I saying no? Why am I automatically doing that? So it's very much something I'm learning, and I see a lot of people coming into this field of work, and they're not in a way taking themselves seriously, even though they know they're bloody good at what they do. They're not taking themselves seriously, and I think it's like that I'm still ongoing learning, and I think it's something we all need to learn if we're going to survive in this line of work. You know, I've got so many examples of times that I don't want to labour all the difficult times, but I'll tell you something I've noticed a lot lately. People will put up a post, they're feeling great, they're putting up a positive post, and then all of a sudden they'll put up one where somebody's been really horrible to them. Now, whatever you do, you can be a bus conductor, you can work in a cake shop. Sooner or later, somebody's going to come in, they're going to be horrible. Some people are horrible. Some people are just having a bad day. But as soon as that happens, their energy plummets and they start to really doubt themselves. amount of messages I've had from spiritual people saying, do you know, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe they're right. Maybe, and so we can have dozens of people say amazing things about us, but one comes along and says something horrible, says we're rubbish. Somebody had it earlier, just said you're fake, you're rubbish, you shouldn't be doing, and that was it. The one bad comment will wipe out all the good comments and all the great work we've done. So I think we have to be, what we call being kick-ass is actually probably just normal to a lot of people, you know, in other lines of work, you know, but I think we got to learn to kick ass a little bit more. And what I mean by that is not in an aggressive way, which obviously you know from the work you do. Kick ass isn't just going around, you know, the spiritual field seems to be split between two camps. You've got those that are bolshy, think they're the best thing ever, and there's a lot of them at the moment popping up on Facebook, and their way is the only way. And then you've got a whole bunch of people who just kind of really talented and lovely and amazing, but don't quite get themselves out there. And part of it is also expecting the universe to do it all for them, you know. So like I was saying earlier with my new book, I will be going, please, please, universe. I will be doing that, but I have done every bit of preparation I can possibly do. You know, I'm still preparing it. I will do everything I can to get it out there. So I think sometimes we can end up a bit passive and not get out there and do what we need to do to make things happen, and think we've only got to read The Secret or something and it's all going to drop out the sky, and it ain't.
No, definitely not. And I think this is very much needed at this point in time, because obviously people are waking up, people are becoming more spiritual. But the old way, you know, is like how I was sort of taught about the golden age. That, you know, the golden age or the golden race that is coming is that everything would change, and what the guy who called the people who's saying was that everything has to change, even spirituality has to change in the essence of, you know, back in, you know, the 60s, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s especially, it was, I always say, you know, the hairy fairy, you know, a little bit woo-woo.
Yep.
It's a little bit,
Yep.
Yeah, man, it's all out there, and the whole thing, for me, Taoist philosophy is all about balance. It's balance between mind, body, and spirit. It's balance, so the earth, you know, the earth, you've got to root your feet in the earth, but also be connected to the heavens as well. And the problem is that, as you said, in the past, you've either had people who were very much in the clouds, and it's all peace and love, man, and you know, that's good to a degree, but you need action. But then you had the other side that were very, you know, everything, you know, we've got to destroy everything bad, we've got to do this, we've got to do that.
Oh yeah.
And the problem is that you become bad by doing that. You know, is that if you know, if you want to overtake the aggressor by being aggressive, you're overly aggressive yourself, you're going to just be another aggressor. So it's this thing of using, you know, in the Taoist philosophy, you've got the fire way and you've got the water way. And the fire way will blast things, but it will leave little things behind. So there is healing that's very much fire way, but it can leave residue. The waterway takes longer, but you wear it, just like the water running through a rock, and as it runs through the rock eventually is totally dissolves, it totally runs away. And it's that that strong will of moving forward. That, you know, like my nan, my dear old nan, would say that a broken clock is right twice a day. And I used to love that saying. And in the essence of it, that means if you hold to your beliefs, if you're strong in your beliefs, sooner or later you're going to be right. You know, like, you know, it's like whatever I'm wearing, sooner or later it's going to be fashionable. It may take 100 years, it may take 100 years, but sooner or later it will be fashionable. And then if I'm still around for that, I will be in fashion. But it's that, you know, don't give up on your, you know, there's a lot of people that will fight, you know, will throw stuff out there, will throw negativity. And there's a lot of haters on Facebook and YouTube and media in general. And it's that thing of, there's one of the former hosts. So you met her, Michelle Infinity, and we used to say we love haters because if you've got haters, you're obviously doing something right to get haters. Because if you weren't getting opposition, you're underneath the radar. You're invisible. You're not doing anything. As soon as you start getting haters, it actually means actually. People are actually going to start, are taking notice because I'm getting this opposition. It's a little bit like when if you have a bowl of water, and there's water going one way, and you put your finger in it to go the other way. The first thing that happens is you get splashback. You get resistance. So you're always, if you're changing your life, you're always going to get resistance.
Well, Churchill, I think it was Winston Churchill, said that if you stand up for what you believe in, he said, great, you'll get people hate you. It shows you stood up, shows you've put backbone, shows you've believed in something. But spiritual, I think when we walk the spiritual path, we get quite nervous of being attacked. And of course, people are very brave when they're hiding behind their computer and the keyboard warriors. They're very, very brave. And a lot of spiritual people really dislike confrontation. I've got a great way of dealing with it. I just press block. I just block them immediately. I don't even bother with the conversation. You just think, I don't mind if somebody disagrees with me. I'm quite happy to have a conversation. When you got people just out for an argument or want to put people down and be nasty, I think I'm just not going to have that energy around me. I just block them immediately. Hello, Nalita. Nice to see you there. Hello.
Yeah, hi, Nalita. And also, hello, John, as well.
Oh, lovely, John. Yeah.
And John also said, good to hear you again, Anne. So he's obviously missed you. Like I've missed you. I always miss Agent A. That's my new nickname. Oh, right, if I'm Agent 27, you've got to be Agent A. So.
Well, I met John D for the first time when I went over to Derry, and I fell in love with Derry. You go somewhere and it affects you. I got there and I could feel that place. I met John. We've been kind of friends at a distance for a long time. We met up and had a coffee in a pub in Derry, and I'm going to go back to that place because it's amazing. So, yeah, the kick-ass spirituality, I really get what you're saying. It's to me, it's about sometimes we hold back. And what you're saying about the haters, 9 times out of 10 people worry about what the people closest to them are going to say, family, friends, and we've all got somebody around us that will say, oh, that thing you do, as if that's going to work. You got one, we've all got somebody. Do you know, I stopped telling my family, like parents, about 20 odd years ago. I stopped telling them anything about what I do. And they'd ask the odd question, I'd just change the subject blatantly, like, yeah, well, it's a bit nice out, isn't it? I think I'll go for a walk, blatantly, because they're waiting to just jump on and say something a bit negative, and you just think you don't know anything about it. You know that. So I think everybody's got somebody around them that will put them down or pull a face. A lot of people have partners, and that's difficult if it's your husband or wife who's just sort of really like maybe not even saying too much, but rolling their eyes a little bit or giving the odd sigh. And after a while, that starts to get to you. So that kick-ass spirituality is about standing in your space, doing what you need to do. It's not about being tough. It is about just. What I like about Scorpios, I find Scorpios very good at just owning what they do. They don't justify. They don't plead with anyone. They don't try and convince anyone, but they do what they want. And I've noticed that with quite a few Scorpios that I've over the years. And I think that's a nice space to be in. You're not justifying anything. You're not trying to convince anyone. You just do what you do. Like it, don't like it. Totally irrelevant to Scorpios. And I love that. So, yeah, it's a funny one. It's just looking at people recently. I've noticed so many people struggling, so many people holding themselves back. But if we think of this on an energetic level, just imagine if you see yourself as having kick-ass spirituality and you just unleash it, just let it out there, just get out there and send that fabulous energy out there and not give a sod what anybody thinks. You just get that wonderful energy out there. How would that be? How would that be if you just let it go? And some people are going to think you're potty, but there's going to be a whole bunch that go, Oh, wow, I've been thinking that. Oh, it's almost like you give them permission to come out a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, there was a great thing. He passed away a long time ago. My friend Terry, but he would always say is where there is one idea or one thought, the universe always creates many. And our teachers would say something very similar. Is that if you exist, that means there will be others like you who exist.
Yeah,
And all you've got to do is shout from the rooftops. Is the old way. You keep shouting until somebody hears you. Now with the internet, you can shout a lot bigger and a lot louder and a lot wider. And the whole thing of destiny and synchronicity as well is that you keep your faith and your faith in your belief in whatever it is that you're doing and you believe in, and that's faith. That's your own personal faith. You keep your faith in that and keep going. Just like Dory, I mentioned this I think at the weekend. Dory from Finding Nemo, just keep swimming, just keep doing what you're doing and enjoy. You know, the most important thing is you've got to enjoy it. Yes, there will come times where you'll get haters, and if the old Gary saying is when negativity is around, go with the flow and ignore it. If you can't ignore it, shout, scream, wail, jump up and down, stamp your feet, do whatever you've got to do to get it out. So go off set or go away and scream and then come back and start again. But if you keep persistently looking up, if you keep persistently focusing on the positive, you will find those other people, and you will get there yourself. I mean, there's actually a future guest on Friday, Coach Nick. Coach Nick is all about service to others. He is a coach, and he teaches life coaches and healers how to promote yourself and how to help others. So that's his big thing, and that's where my energy, and that's where we all seem to be. That's the forefront at the moment, is learning how you've got these great skills, you've got these wondrous abilities. Learn how to project them out to other people, but never give up. Never, I like to say, in the back of my head is always one end saying, a broken clock is right twice a day. Never ever give up.
I think a lot of it's about owning what you think, owning what you believe. It's I never, if I'm when I'm out and about, I don't talk about my work unless somebody asks me. I'm not going to get out there and make a big announcement. If somebody says that it's all a load of tosh, I don't argue with them. I go, well, maybe you're right. Yeah, maybe. I don't bother to argue. If somebody asks me sensible questions, I will answer them. But I think it is about owning what we do, and a lot of people almost hide away a little bit. I've noticed quite a few people, they kind of almost keep their spirituality in a box, and it's like, I'm not allowed to be spiritual because I get disapproval from people. I learned a lot from my spiritual teacher, my first mentor, and that was Greta Gill, and she was an incredible woman. I've never met anybody like her. And she just floated along through life. But what I suppose the people I've greatly admired, Stuart Wilde, is probably, I've learned more from him than from anybody. They actually live a good life. They don't apologize for anything, but they lead a good life. Stuart Wilde said, your spirituality should earn you a living. It should. You can't go and live in poverty and struggle. You can't. It actually stunts your spirituality. And I know when I first started doing readings, I didn't charge. It was a long time ago. I had no money, and I still wasn't charging, and didn't feel right charging, as a lot of us have done in the early days. And I was dying on my feet financially. And one thing that changed me was a woman said to me, she came to see me and said, how much? I went, no, I'm not charging. She said, I want to come to see you if I'd known that. She said, it just makes me uncomfortable. And I suddenly thought, wow. A little bit later, Stuart Wilde gave a talk in London. I didn't see him live many times because he was often in other countries. And he stood up, and it was quite a profound moment because he had a big room full of spiritual people. At the front was a lot of healers. And he said, how many of you ever do anything free? And a lot of people put their hand up, and he went, you're patronising people. And they looked horrified. He said, no, you're patronising people. He said, oh, there's you, the big healer or therapist, handing out all these free gifts because you're so important. He was really full on. And a whole bunch got up and walked out. But I thought, oh, no, I'm going to listen to him because this guy's clever. I've read a lot of his work. And he said, no, don't patronise people. He said, they can find the money to come to you. They can afford, they can come up with the money. Don't presume everybody's so poor. Even if they say they're poor, they're usually not. And that rung a bell in my head because I'd had a number of people phone and go, oh, can you do it cheaper? And I had readings by that time. It moved on a little bit and I started to charge a small amount and they were still begging for less. And they were turning up in 25 grand motors, and you just go, and you just start feeling like a mug. You've had that happen, yeah?
Yeah.
You end up feeling like a mug, and then they tell all their friends. Their friends go, we did it cheaper for her. And in the end, you are exhausted. And I remember being exhausted and people would phone up and go, oh, can I just ask you something? Okay, one last question. I saw you a month ago. And I'd be on the phone for hours and hours. Hello, beautiful Marilyn's there. Hi. And we got so worn down. And then I was given a good talking to by somebody who had been in the spiritual field for a long time. And she said, no, you've got to set your boundaries and don't let people take liberties and only see people the hours. And she said, otherwise you won't survive. And I thought, I'm not surviving. I'm really struggling now. I was actually losing weight. I was feeling ill with it. So I started to be a bit more sensible. Of course, you get the reaction then when you say, sorry, I'm not doing anything free, I'm not doing cut price. You do get the odd person react quite badly, but it does clean the energy. It cleans the energy. And after a little while, people start to treat you with a bit more respect.
Yes, indeed. And I think that's the fact. I mean, I've with myself, and I do a 2-person healing with a guy called Fred Leach, that guy, and he's had it as well, where people have turned up in Mercs and Rolls Royces and the sort of thing. Oh, can't you drop a bit off the price? And going,
yeah, it's unfair. Really? It's unfair, isn't it? It's unfair. I think it's unfair to ask people. I mean, people don't. There's people who always want the initial free session. They just do the rounds of loads of therapists having the initial free consultation, and that's all they do. They never. And I think, no, come on. People have got to earn a living. They got bills to pay or whatever. They've got to live. They've got to eat. Be fair to people. So it's Stuart Wilde. I learned a lot from him because he's very much somebody that teaches you to lead a good life, eat good food, look after yourself, believe in yourself. And what he said was, and it's something I've certainly seen a lot, people go from one extreme to the other. I always loved this. He always used to say, people 1 minute they don't want to take any money. The next thing they want to conquer the world and have centres in 50 countries and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And he said, what happens is your energy will drop. You will not cope with it. And he said, look, there's this married couple and they open a pizza parlour and they make amazing pizzas and everybody shows up and they start making loads of money. So they open 15 and energetically they can't cope with that. And so their energy just drops and the whole lot falls apart and they lose everything. And it is, we've got on an energetic level got to feel it in order to put it out there. And I think one of the things we've got to learn to do, and definitely, as I say, I'm still learning this, I've got to learn to be a bit more bold about myself. I think we've all got to learn to be bold about ourselves, believe in ourselves and put our energy out there. And if people don't like it, who cares? Yeah.
I know nothing. I come from Barcelona. I don't. Yeah, it is what it is. Firstly, good evening, Marilyn. We got all the agents here. I've just realised all the agents are here. Agent 27, Agent 35, and Agent A. but everybody else, they will have not a clue what we're going on about.
Absolutely, they won't.
It's a boggy thing, don't worry. I like giving people little nicknames because I've always grown up with nicknames. So it's Jirsch, Agent A. We've got the wonderful Marilyn Devonish, Agent 35, and I'm Agent 27, but we won't talk about that one. So, right, well, we had a message from Breezy. She was actually Breezy Spread Love, she's been on the show twice before, and she was on recently. She said, this is so important for me to hear as a young practitioner. Yeah, because I know she's doing stuff herself. And yeah, you've got to be strong. You've got to be strong for yourself. You've got to realise that, you know, there will be people who will, there will be people negative. There will be people naturally, you know, when you're healing, will naturally try to take Mickey. And I've always come up with the approach of, it's the universe testing you. You know, if you see it as, these are all little trials and tribulations, these little tests, and you just go, oh yes, it's a test, and then you do whatever, you know, if you're going to, you know, carry on paying what you charge, you know, carry on charging what you charge, and you do that. You want to drop it, that person, do that. But, you know, every time you do something, everything in life has a price. Everything has a cause and effect. So it's knowing that, and it's finding your own balance. Here comes the Tai Chi hammer. It's finding your own Tao, your own balance, and it's seeking through. You know, you'll have ups and downs, and you'll find your own personal price. You'll find what you're happy with. I mean, in Taoistically in China, I loved the way that they did it, which was, if you could only afford a fiver, you paid a fiver. If you could afford 100 quid, you pay 100 quid, because it's what you can afford and what that person's worth. Unfortunately, as we've already said, in our society, you'll have everybody only paying a fiver because, or the people who could afford more will, unless they have honest held belief and honesty and integrity, a lot of people would go for the less money. So you've got to stick with what you are happy with paying, like Anne said, you know, and that will slowly, you know, you build it up and you find that point you're comfortable with. I've had in the past, I remember 10 years ago, I went to a very a lady's house, very well-off lady, and I was told, you've got to charge more money, Bobby. Don't charge the normal price. You've got to charge more money. So this is the 90s, and I went there and I thought, okay, because I only normally charge, back then it was about £40. And I said, okay, I'll charge £85. I said to the lady, £85, and she turned round and said, oh, is that all? Oh, you can't be that good then, that's very cheap. So I learned an important lesson, is about, you know, about value and about, you know, and everybody's perspective of value, you know.
Well, Breezy, that's. I'm glad you said that, because you know, when I started out, I made every mistake in the book, and there was times I was really struggling to pay my bills, but I seemed to be doing work for everybody, and people took liberties. And you know, I always think that the old way was to pass on what you've learned. You know, the old way. Somebody had been around a long time, like my spiritual teacher, Greta. She was older, and, you know, and she would teach us in no uncertain terms. She was quite firm with us. She would teach us to believe in ourselves. And the other way we hold back is from letting people know what we do. And it's interesting. We've got Marilyn here, who's the best at marketing. I mean, Marilyn, you are the best at kind of getting your stuff out there. I hassle. She is. She's really good online and doing webinars and all these different things and putting stuff up and newsletters, and I keep hassling her, can you do more classes showing what you do? I hassle her and just go, Marilyn, what tips have you got for being kick-ass spirituality, because you're kick-ass. I mean, Cara, you're really strong. So what are your tips? Can we hear you? Have we got yours? Oh, bless. Yeah. Oh, is there a way of typing something up? Because you've got the best tips. Well, that'll have to be a show in itself.
Yep, indeed. I don't know why Kenneth Manning speakers. I'm just trying to get it to work. If you're talking, but we can't hear you, Manning. Let me just try a little something. Let me put you back down there and then bring you back up again and see if that changes anything. Hello, Marilyn. No, that didn't work. No, you just have to be the pretty face, Marilyn. You'll just have to be there for us to admire. It'll have to be a silent show unless you can get onto the comment box and comment. There is you can message. There is actually there should be a little comment box down below somewhere. You could always type something in. Otherwise, or if you can get onto the actual, or that'd be crazy. But if you can actually get onto the Facebook Live and comment on there, I can see it that way. Otherwise, but anyway, let's see. We'll do a quick couple more hellos. So, I think Nora already said hello, but she's saying hello. Sandra Francis, she's been on the old show there she goes. Bye, Marilyn, love you. Sandra Francis, she's been on the show before. She said hello. Then...
Janie. Hello, Janie.
Oh, right. So, hello, dearest Anne. So lovely to find you on here. Lots of loves and kisses. That's good.
Well, Janie first came. I met Janie years ago because she popped into the office and she had this fabulous red hair, and I just said, "You've got Bowie hair," and she said, "I love Bowie," and I said, "So do I." So we go off to the old Bowie thing together. We go off and listen to Bowie. If there's a Bowie event, we go off to the odd thing because we both kind of go, "Oh, we love him." So. So the other thing I was going to mention was that spiritual people are so in their heart, they're right into their heart center, and they're always doing meditations. Oh, I've got to bring more energy into my heart, and it's lovely, but that they can end up being nice to a lot of people they shouldn't be nice to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time with, because I do intuitive business sessions. I love doing them. And so I get people from a lot of different walks of life, but a lot of spiritual people will come to me and they'll go, well, but business isn't taking off. And I've got a bit of and they've usually got 500 ideas. And we get there and we narrow down what they're meant to do. And I use my intuition and we see the way forward. But they're often so much into their heart. They love everybody and they want to save everybody in the whole world, plus all the animals and insects, and they want to plant trees. And their heart energy is so big that they're not ever stepping into the thinking side. It's all heart. Have you ever met spiritual people? I knew a girl years ago, and she was wonderful, really spiritual, but her kid had no clothes. She was so busy in the spiritual field, she never got around for real life. She forgot his birthday, and I thought that was not good. You still got to live in the real world, which is what I learned from Stuart Wilde. He always said, you've got to live in the real world. You can't live on top of a mountain in this day and age. And he said, if you can't convert your spirituality into, as you go about your everyday business, then you're not that spiritual. And what he was putting over was a lot of people will sit there and be also spiritual. The minute they walk out the door, they're not very nice to people, or they're not being very spiritual. And I love that. I still read Stuart Wilde and I still learn from him. I never met him, which really galls me because he's absolutely my favourite. And I put other people towards him, and they met him and I didn't. It was my favourite. But he would say, how are you going to apply this in your everyday life? And he didn't mean in a wishy-washy or run around saving everybody. He would try and say the spirituality has to be converted into your everyday life. And he said in his early days, he was living in London, and he said, because this is his words, not mine. He said, because everybody's so crowded in England, there's just way too many people on a small island, especially London. It's so crowded. He said people are quite a little bit defensive. And he said, and you naturally start to judge people. He said, it's just part of anywhere that's really crowded, you get a bit judgy. And he said, so you'd walk along the road and you'd think, oh my God, look at that woman in that skirt. And then you'd look at somebody else and you'd think, oh, look at the way he's walking. He said, it's an automatic thing and you don't realise you're doing it. And he said, what he started to do as he was walking along, he would think something about somebody, then immediately he'd bring in the word peace. He said after 5 years of doing that, he stopped all the judgy thoughts. He stopped it and he just thought, whoever they are, wherever they're from, whatever their circumstances, peace. And he started to automatically, it took him 5 years, which I thought was really, really comical. But I love that, spirituality in your everyday life, because it's so easy to do all the talk and then not live it. You know, that spirituality where you give your seat to somebody older on the train. You notice. Do you know what I mean? You notice things. You're not trying to conquer the world, but just in your everyday life, you have a kind word for somebody. You notice things. Your awareness, not the big martyr thing of trying to change the world and give everybody everything. It's that unseen. I think that's what Stuart Wilde was trying to teach. It's unseen. Nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to see it. You know, it's not some big gesture. Just get that lovely kick-ass spirituality and turn it into something really positive, a positive force. And he just basically said, you know, you own that energy and you live it and you put it out there. And he said, it's that energy where you don't worry about anything. You just don't care about anything in that way of you're not worried about what people say about you or what anybody thinks. And he gave a few stories about people that were about to lose everything. And they just said, no, I'm not backing down because that'd be the wrong thing to do. I'm going to keep walking that straight line. And he said the world would always come back to them. And a lot of people have asked me about free flow. I mentioned it I think I mentioned it in one of my books, Stuart Wilde's Free Flow, and you'll really get this with the Tao. He said, when you free flow, you just float along, the lights turn green. The mugger won't even see you. They'll pass you by. You just get into that free flow. And I mentioned that, and it was on an old cassette. It's on an old cassette somewhere in a box, somewhere other, probably in this crazy office. And I really have tried to get into the free flow. But you know this, Boggy. As soon as we get into the worrying and thinking, oh, suppose I'm going to be late, suppose this, supposing that, it starts to go wrong, doesn't it? But when we just flow. And so my spiritual teacher, Greta, would just say, I remember once she was late and she was about to catch a train. And she was in the car with a couple of other people and they were frantic going, oh, these roadworks, look at these roadworks. Oh, they're taking forever. Oh. And she was going, it'll work out perfectly. And they went, how do you know it'll work out properly? No, it won't. We're going to miss the train. And as they pulled up, one of the guys digging the roads come up and spoke to her because people were just drawn to her. And somehow or other they started talking and he mentioned he'd lost his wife. He just said he was really unhappy because his wife had died a few months before. And she said, oh, he's up there with my first husband. And, you know, your wife's up there with my first husband. And she just had this chat. And she said, now you know why we were meant to be delayed, because we were meant to talk to that guy. And she arrived at the perfect time. They got on the train. They weren't late. And I've never been able to master that as she does. She had this piece of land and she needed to leave there. She literally was she had to leave at a certain time because somebody was moving in and she had nowhere to go and she wasn't young. And she said, it'll be okay. And I'm just saying to her, now, Greta, you're pushing your luck. You know, you better ring round a few friends. You got 3-4 hours to go. You need to, no, it'll be all right. And she just had that air about her. And the phone rang. I swear to you, the phone rang and somebody called her and just said, I know it's short notice, but I don't suppose you could house sit my mansion for 6 months. And then at the end of that 6 months, the same thing happened. I just went, oh, come on, you know, you're pushing your luck now. And again, with hours to spare, somebody called her up and just said, I know it's last minute, but, you know, my house, and they said you're good and blah, blah, blah. And so she had somewhere else to live. And then she went back to her own land. She could go back to her own land then. It's amazing. I can't do that. I would have been frantic going, I'm going to be sleeping on the park bench. That's why I say I'm still learning kick-off spirituality, because I would not have done. But you know about that when you don't worry and you're just in flow. That's why one of Stuart Wilde's books is so important. It's called The Trick to Money is Having Some. Because when you've got a load of money, more money flows to you. It just flows to you. Do you know, at Windsor Castle, they found oil. They found oil at Windsor Castle. That's 5 minutes up the road from me. They didn't find oil in my back garden. They found it in the Queen's back garden, the richest woman in the world, because money flows to you. Yeah. Which I love that. So I'm trying to learn this, really. I think I have been in my over 40 years of working in this field. I think I'm still trying to learn. But you know about flow, Boggy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I grew up as a kid, really, really nervous and worried about stuff. But it was the Taoist stuff with my teachers, and then eventually, well, I think it was about I was about 25. Came across a friend of yours, Barefoot Doctor Stephen Russell, and
Ah,
he's another equivalent to the whole Taoist viewpoint, and it's almost like a great book, a Taoist great book, is the Tao, or it's spelled T, the Tao of Pooh, as in Winnie the Pooh. You
I've
look it
got that
up,
and never read it. I've got it and never
Benjamin
read
Hoff.
it. I must
And
read it.
basically saying that Winnie the Pooh is the iconic Taoist, that he just, he flutters about, it's, we'll have an adventure today and something marvellous happens, and all the others, Eeyore and whatnot, all flapping about like they do, and
Mm.
he just, and there's a great one in there, where there's a great, they use, for example, is that in the Winnie the Pooh story, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet have gone into the woods, with Rabbit, and they've got lost, and they keep trying to find the way out, and then come back to the centre. And then what Winnie the Pooh says is, well, we keep trying to find a way out and come back to the centre. Why don't we leave here, try to find a way to the centre, we'll find a way out. And Rabbit says, oh, don't be silly, that's such a stupid idea, how's that going to work? And he wanders off, and they don't see him. So they go, okay, let's do it, and they do it, and they left and then try to find the centre again, and they found their way out. And
Wow.
it's that Winnie the Pooh, just going with the flow and just,
Yeah.
and let things happen. Right, we've got a couple of messages. Let's go through these here. So, we've got, right, what's that? Siobhan, I think, I'm sorry, my conjecture, I've got your name wrong. And I can hear you loud and clear, but the guy to your right is difficult to hear. Of course. If most people would disagree with you, they're quite loud normally. But
Unless she's referring to Marilyn. Because that's not the first language.
No, we couldn't hear her at all. But John's also written. He's gone to me and my dyslexia. To each his appointed. Once shine forth thy light, sweet Hierophant. Ah, the old Hierophant. Of course, you are worth an adequate. When you got dyslexia, words really muddle up, and he's using old English. So basically, he's saying you're worth as much as a Hierophant. Keep going, I think.
Yeah,
So,
you're worth good payment, and I think that's. I've struggled with that in the past. I think in my early days, I literally had bald tires on my car, and and people were taking advantage. And I think it's something I had no option. One thing that's really been good for me is in my early days, I had no money, and I had 2 kids. I had to go out and earn a living. I had to charge. Otherwise I wouldn't have had those 50p's to put in the meter. I meet a lot of people who say they're hard up, then they're here, there, and everywhere, and off to the Caribbean for a month and all the rest of it. And when we're hard up, we don't have 50p's to put in the meter, and that was literally. And I had kids to feed, and the house was cold. So, I had to get out there, and that's given me a good background that I had to go and charge money. I had to get money in, and it's taught me to do that. I think when you're spiritual, it's often where we feel like we got to sit back. And I met so many people who have said to me, oh, well, if it's meant to happen, it will happen. And, if the universe wants me to have that, and you just go, everybody I know, and you mentioned Barefoot, I love Barefoot. He's my 3 influences. Barefoot, I love his philosophy, Stuart Wilde and Greta. They're those 3 more, the 3 major influences on my life. And Barefoot, he works so incredibly hard. Do you know, some days he'll answer 600 emails. Yeah, 600 himself, and I'm just, how does he do that and write books and be driving everywhere and doing all these things that he does? It's just incredible what he does.
All the music he makes as well, because he's actually he's a very good musician as well.
I've never heard music. I've never heard that.
Yeah, I like his style. It's quite like the old house was, sort of old now, but like
That doesn't surprise me.
House style. Because Ibiza, he had a lot of connections with, and but it's not that Taoist, or it's got that spiritual flair in it as well, and he puts positive vibes in the music.
I shall look out for this. I shall go and track this down. Anybody got any questions? Let me know if you got any questions. But
we've got some. So, well, I've got some more. There's a few popped up. So, Marilyn said, "What an interesting conversation. Would have loved to have taken part." We would have loved to have taken part too, Marilyn.
Well, I think Marilyn should do this. I think she should do a blogging show that's called Kick-Ass Spirituality by Marilyn, because she's really good at this. She's better at it than me, to be honest.
Well, funny enough, she's doing a show on Sunday. We're doing Huna, so hopefully she's doing the Hawaiian Reiki, known as Huna, and Ho'oponopono. We're doing that show Sunday, so hopefully we'll have sorted out her sound issues by then as well.
Right, well, we'll book her again for Kick-Ass Spirituality, because I think that Marilyn's good at that. And when she tells her story of how she started out, like me, she wasn't kick-ass in the early days, and she's learned to be. And it's survival, isn't it? You've got to survive. And I love Barefoot's philosophy. He churns out so much work, and it's such quality. I mean, there's a lot of people that will churn out book after book, and you go, "Oh, it's the same as the last one." His isn't. All his work is just amazing. I'm a big fan of Barefoot. He's an amazing guy. He's just and he's strong. He really will say what he thinks. He really will get up there, but he works really hard as well. And I've had a few people say to me, why isn't things taken off for me? And I've just go, what have you done? Apart from post up your latest thing on Facebook, what else have you done to let people know? If there's people looking for you, how are they going to find you? And I think that's a very good kick-ass question. If people need what you do, how are they going to find you? How are you going to let people know? How are you going to get your energy out there?
Indeed. And I think that's a great thing. Definitely, we will have to get Marilyn on the show. Hopefully, you as well, and do a kick-ass too.
That'd be nice, yeah.
Right. So, is that Sivona? I can't say her name. Just trained as a practitioner and finds the work exciting. I am looking forward to practicing it more. I have experience to see more after the training. It's really triggered me visual. I think that she's saying like she's really passionate about what she's doing.
She trained with me in Norway. Yeah, she trained with me in Norway a couple of weeks ago. Fabulous girl, amazing energy, just really embraces everything. She just opened up fabulously. I mean, it was amazing to teach out there. So, yeah, great stuff, lady. I know you're going to do great things.
Yeah, keep it going. In fact, if you would actually like to come on the show, message me or message the fan page, The Way of Conscious Mindfulness, and we'll bring you on the show, because, you want, Anne says about, how you're going to get your stuff out there. Hello! I'll help you get it out there. That's one of my missions. It's what I do. Marilyn, the mighty Agent 35 also said, and with your work with your work past and future lives, do you think there is some energetic past life throwback, because healers of old would never charge for their services?
I don't know. Did they not charge? I've got no idea if they did or not. I really don't know if they did or not. But I just, in this day and age, I can answer that in a different way. I was on a radio show, and it was live, and people phoning in, and they said there's some really difficult people phoning in. They're really heavy. And I went, bring them on. I was feeling brave that day. Bring them on. And this one guy went into attack mode, going, it's disgusting you charge him for what you do. And I said, why is it disgusting? He said, well, you shouldn't earn a living. You should do it free. Spiritual gifts are gifts. And I said, well, I don't actually think it is a gift. I think anyone can learn to use their spirituality to do things. I teach, so I believe people can do it. And I said, okay, that 5% of the population are the Paris Hiltons. Fair play to them. They don't need to earn a living. Fair play to them. Great stuff. They don't need to earn a living. The other 95%, like me, have to earn a living. Now, I can either live on benefits, live off the state, live off somebody else, or earn a living. What would you like me to do? And the guy fell apart. He actually went, oh, well, and I went, okay. And he was trying to escape. And I just said, well, okay, why is it all right for people who cure cancer or priests or vicars or whatever? Why is it all right for everybody else to earn a living, but not us? Why is it not okay for us to earn a living? Well, it doesn't make sense, does it?
I know. And I would add to that, being, is that, so you're saying, it's a gift, it's a skill. So hold up, what about people who are naturally gifted to be bakers or to build buildings? Are you saying that those people should do it for nothing?
The nurses wouldn't get paid, and doctors who cure babies of terrible illnesses wouldn't get paid because they've got an amazing gift that they can change somebody's life, but they're getting paid vast amounts of money. Nurses are obviously not paid vast amounts, but that people have to earn a living, and it's really odd. But as I said earlier, people actually feel a bit uncomfortable if they're not. If you're not charging them, it actually makes people feel a bit uncomfortable. Yeah, and there is a thing. I mean, from the Taoist point of view or Eastern point of view, the barefoot doctor, where I'm trained as a barefoot doctor and a dragon dog shaman, they're actually types of sorts, and the barefoot doctor, as great Stephen Russell is, the barefoot doctor went from village to village. And what they did was they would go from village to village, teaching, healing, and helping people, and in return they got fed. They got fed in clothes, and that's payment. That's payment. And the whole point is that if we lived in, I've always said this, if we live in the Star Trek society, or there's an actual ancient society called Ubuntu, which is there's a guy, I always forget his name, the guy actually from South Africa bring this over, and the whole philosophy of this Ubuntu is that everybody in the tribe, or everybody in the village, everybody in the city, they all do so many hours every day, only about 3 hours every day, and they cover all the jobs that the whole city has, and then the rest of your time is free. And so, if you live, if I can live in a city like that, I'll be living in that tomorrow. If I can live in a Star Trek city where you don't need money, I'll be living there tomorrow. But I don't. Yeah. And so, if I want to do this full time, which is my, my goal, my aim, I'm going to have to charge. I'm going to have to earn a living. But the whole point is, I'm not doing it. The whole point, I'm not doing it to be rich. I'm doing it to do what my passion is. I'm doing it to help people. I'm doing it. I'm a healer. I do the qigong. I do the tai chi. I do massage healing. All those skills I enjoy and I love, and I want to do that for people, and I help people. But obviously, the whole thing, the whole Tai Chi thing, what this is talked about, is the transference of energy. If just one of us keeps talking, we're preaching or dictating. But the whole point that we're talking to each other, we're listening, and we're listening to other people and answering other people's questions, it becomes flow. As you talked about, it becomes the balance between Tai Chi. So the whole point, when you want healing, as a barefoot doctor, the biggest thing of a barefoot doctor is they don't just heal you, they teach you the skills to heal yourself. Because that's the true goal. You should be helping yourself. And that is time and effort, but there needs to be a transference. You have to do something in return. Otherwise, what's the point? Well, this is it. I love Marilyn's question because she's really got my mind going. I wonder if there is something from past lives where people would just sit outside their teepee or whatever and work for free. And I wonder if there is a little bit. But I think we are made to feel a bit. I think other people make us feel uncomfortable. I think there's always somebody like the guy on the radio show that's going to come in on the attack and just say, you shouldn't charge. I've noticed people don't like paying for healing. They'll pay for reflexology and Indian head massage, and they'll pay for a reading. People don't like paying for healing. A friend of mine was... kinesiologist. She did some work on somebody, and afterwards she said, "Oh, it's £45," and she worked on it and really worked hard and used a lot of concentration. The woman went, "If I give you that money, it will go straight into your pocket." It was just the oddest thing to say. And she went, "Well, yeah, but I've just been working on you." And one of the trainers always says, "Guess how many thousands and tens of thousands of pounds I've spent on training." I've been on so many trainings. I've invested. People have set their room up. They've put a lot of dedication in, and we're not. Most of us aren't Paris Hilton. Most of us don't have that vast amount of money. If I had it, I wouldn't charge. I'd quite happily. It's a difficult one actually, because I've often thought of doing. I made a recording to help people stop smoking, and I really would like to put that out for free, but that's actually unfair on people that earn a living from helping people to stop smoking. And then you've got that thing that anybody that smokes, they spend a lot of money on cigarettes, so they should pay, give somebody, if you can spend £100 a week on cigarettes, you can give somebody £100 to help you stop smoking or whatever you charge. So there's a bit of me thinking, but if it was just down to me, I would just put it out there for free and just stop a whole load of people from smoking. So you have the other thing. Is it the right thing to do work for free? Is it the right thing? But
I mean, when you say I'll quickly say this, and then we've got a message from Carol. You saying about people in the ancient past lives sitting outside their teepees giving it for free, but the whole point is, who's feeding them? Who's looking at, the people she's helping are feeding her and looking after her and maintaining her teeth. So there is, when people get in their heads this thing about free, it's like, yeah, but those people weren't doing it for free because they did it in return for it was barter.
That's very interesting.
The original price. Now, along with this, Carol said, I'll flip it up on the screen, and I refuse to charge for my readings. Oh, it's just moved down now, I've got to say again. And I refuse to charge for my readings, but found they didn't value my advice. So now I charge. And that's exactly what I think happens. When you don't, because I tried to do it for very little. I tried to, when people say, I've done this personally. When people say, I can't afford this, I say, okay, fine. You can't afford to pay, I'll teach you, but in return, if it helps you, I want you to promote me. I want you to post things out for me. And you know what? Half the time, you'll find out who really wants it, because when I said that I'll do this, within about a couple of days or maybe a week, they disappear. Because when they don't want to pay at all. They don't even want to share something, which is a transfer of energy. But we have also got Agent 35 has put this. So yes, from what I know of my studies of ancient methodologies, many, and of course not all, healers would go from village to village and share their skills and rely upon the kindness of the villagers for food and shelter. It's an issue that comes up a lot when I do past life readings and energy clearing. Manny, agree. But the note there, when you say, or when it says, they rely on people to give them food and shelter, they're actually paying them. They're paying them for their services.
And you didn't need a lot. It's like when I come back from India, I've spent a year in India, I had 2 sets of clothes. I had one set that I was wearing, another set that'd be washed or in my rucksack. I didn't need a lot. I slept at train stations sometimes, or I'd get a very cheap hotel. I had a pair of boots. I just didn't need anything. As soon as I come back to England, it was like you had to have money for everything. You just had to have money for everything. You couldn't even go for a job unless you had the money for the bus fare to get there. You just constantly needed money, and I didn't suffer culture shock going to India, but I certainly suffered culture shock coming back. It costs you a lot to live here, even if you don't do anything. You have to pay certain bills. You have to pay certain taxes. that is it. Otherwise, you get into trouble. So it'd be lovely if we could live like that. I mean, it's a really nice thought if you could just, live on sort of so little and people just feed you. But in reality, the time we're living in now, you'd starve and lose your house. You'd starve and lose your house. You just would. So it's a real, it's a shame, really, isn't it? It's a shame that we can't live like that. I wouldn't be brave enough. That's why I'm still working on kick-ass spirituality. I would not be brave enough to just rely on people looking after me. Oh, Boggy, I think you've frozen. What are we going to do? What can we do if you're frozen? Oh, bless, on my way back. Good for you, Boggy. So I don't know if any of you can still hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can. So one of the things I was going to mention is I think a really nice thing to do is imagine there's another you who just allowed their energy out there. And just imagine there's another you and step into them and it's full. Are you back? Are you back? I don't know if people could just hear me then or not, but I was just... All right, cool. What I was just saying is I think a good exercise, and I do this from time to time, imagine there's another you who just total belief, lets their energy flow, lets their energy and all that fabulousness full flow, just really flowing, and step into that other you and just get that feeling of it. It's a brilliant exercise. I do this a lot. Just jump in, feel that energy flowing. How do you think? What do you do differently? And I'll tell you what, you do that, people will treat you different. Keeping that energy, and people will they'll treat you differently.
So Marilyn's then also put, I'm running a free workshop in 2 weeks for people in my membership group. It's a bonus for annual and lifetime members. I still do free stuff. However, there has usually been some energetic exchange of some sort. Yeah, I agree with that.
Exactly, yeah.
But that's the point. It's not, it is free, but it's not free because these are your loyal, members.
Yeah.
These people, they've earned it in essence. And you're giving something. And I'm not saying you should charge for every single thing. The whole point, like for me, having loads of videos and having loads of stuff online means that if I want to give somebody 5 free videos, I can. They're mine to give away, and that's my choice. But it's your choice. That's the point.
It's your choice. Every so often I do something free for my practitioners or for the FLP practitioners. Every so often I'll do a free webinar or write a new script, and that's really, really, really nice. Just every so often I'll do a free webinar. So now and again you just get that energy and you send it out there. One of the first things I did was do a free healing meditation, and that's still on my website. It's just anybody anywhere in the world, if they need some healing, they can just lay back, listen to it, and draw in some energy, draw it to wherever it's needed. It's really easy for me to put together. That's there for life now, So every so often it's nice. I've got a few nice things that are free, and I think it's lovely. Marilyn, yes, I agree. I love sharing. However, my mortgage company aren't that keen. Yeah,
exactly. That's what you have to remember. and the point, the point is, like I've said, like with my stuff, there has to be an exchange. That's all I'm actually concerned about. If you pay me in money, in bananas, I love bananas, in tickets to a country, I don't care almost. There has to be a transfer. That's why I've said, if you want to learn from me and you can't afford it, you're willing to share, if it helps you and improves you, and you share it to your other people, you post, when I post a link, you share it out and post it. That's payment as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Because to me, everything is energy, money is the whole barefoot doctor would say. Money is energy. That's why we call it currency. You know, the
Yeah,
whole point is
absolutely.
it's all energy, but it doesn't. You know, if you don't have the money, you know, I'm not a person, and I know and I know Merlin. If you just honestly saying you can't do something, they can give you something. There is other ways
Yeah,
that we can help
yeah.
you, and there's other ways we will help you. So
Well,
it's not
do you
that,
know what?
you know,
One of
so
the things I like to do is bring people up. That my way is rather than give people. There's a big movement at the moment, and I love the idea of it, and I really hope it works. Where everyone gets a certain amount of money. It's like everyone gets a basic couple of £100 a week, and some places have tried this out. It's just basic, rather than you have people on benefits. Everybody gets this basic amount of money, and it sounds great in theory, and I'd love to see it happen. And apparently they've tested it out in various places, and it's been a great success. But I know when I've given people handouts, it hasn't actually helped. Twice I've given people a car. Two different people have given them a car, a good working car. Nothing, you know, not a 20 grand motor, but definitely a good running car when they got nothing. And both times they blew it within a few weeks. And, you know, so I just think sometimes you've got to bring people up and teach them to have belief in themselves. And I regularly share things that other people are doing. Just go come and have a look. So-and-so's got a great meditation group. Come and have a look. So-and-so's a great therapist, especially. And so often bringing people up, sharing what they do. I like to put my energy into that and bring people up, because it's not about just giving people, again, what Stuart Wells said, it can be a bit patronizing, you're giving people handouts. How about you just recommend them on, bring them up, teach them some self-belief, you know, you believe in them, it gives them more belief in themselves. And I love that. And I love bringing people and putting people out there. So with FLP, after a few years, it became not about me, it became about all of us. And that's when it got strong. I think about 9 of the practitioners have written their own book. They're regularly on television. They get gigs I can't get. They're out there. You're interviewing a few of them. You know, they're amazing people. So I suddenly found it starts to become about what you bringing the energy up of everybody, and that's when I think you're really in that kick-ass energy. You know, it's not about you, because the being about you is just ego. So when it's about everybody else, that's when it gets brilliant. You know, when you're not threatened by people. Sometimes people get a bit threatened as they fight their corner, and there's a lot going on at the moment with a few hypnotherapists where they're sort of battering against each other a bit. And I just go, no, come on, just bring everybody up. Be good to everybody, and something magical will happen there.
You know my philosophy. I share everybody else's stuff to help raise myself, because that's how it works.
Yes,
when you help
that
everybody
works.
else. And the other thing I wanted to say about about giving people stuff as well is it was something that from the show yesterday, EJ's Soul Guide, where he triggered a memory in mine of the old Chinese saying of give a man a fish and he eats for a day. Teach the man how to fish and he eats for a lifetime. So sometimes you want, and that's the whole thing of the Barefoot Doctor. It wasn't about healing the person, it's teaching them. That's why I teach Qigong and Tai Chi. It's giving somebody the skills to help themselves. Now we've got a quick, another quick thing from Marilyn says, I am always saying to people that Anne is one of the most generous trainers I know, so open to sharing everything she knows, no holding back.
Bless you, Marilyn. Thank you.
Anne is an awesome person. She
bless
is
you.
a very loving and caring
This is
person.
great.
Thank you.
Thank
it's time. It's time. You deserve it, and you should hear it. So you're going to hear it. And kick-ass Boggy doesn't take no for an answer. You're hearing it whether you like it or not. So, but that's what it's about. It's about, you should be, but as a spirit, whether you're a healer or a coach, help others, help your fellow coaches, boost them. There's a great thing I learned from Avocado Wolf, which was that he, when people share his stuff or take, copy his stuff, he loves it because it means, it's going out there. Something I've said somebody else wants to say. It's all from the universe. It's all the same thing. It's all one.
Yeah,
It doesn't
it
really
is.
matter.
Well, when you're in your power, you have the strength to do that. But you've just got, once you're confident in your own power, you are comfortable sharing other people.
Indeed. Right, okay, we're going to have to wrap it up because I've actually got another show waiting. I've got the Mighty Fred
You have.
waiting in the wings. So I'd like to say thank you so much, Marilyn. Right camera. Thank you so much, Marilyn, for coming on tonight. Absolutely loved it. I think we should get Marilyn on. Hint, hint. I think we should get you and I. We need to do kick our spirituality too, and we'll
that'd be good.
Explore this further because I really do think that would be a good thing to do. Right, so everybody else, I'm afraid, because Sandra's asked what is FLP. Unfortunately, we haven't got time to go on to
Google
that
me. Find me on Facebook. Find me on Facebook. Contact me, and I'll tell you all about it.
Also, we did a show on that, didn't we? We did a show. We did. The very first one. Sandra, anybody else, I will put the link for that show onto here so you can see it. But also Google and Jirsch, connect to and Jirsch and find out that way as well. So, guys, thank you so much. I enjoyed it. The next show is literally in 2 minutes on the other link. So I'm literally hopping from this one because we had a little. I clashed two guests, unfortunately. But and I've enjoyed it immensely. Thank you so much. We will speak again soon. Oh, I loved it. It's been awesome. So everybody else, I hope you enjoyed it. And stay there for 1 second. Everybody else, I hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Bye for now. From the wonderful Anne Jirsch, from Secret Boggy, and love, Chi, and Shen.